What's up, everyone? Welcome to the April 7th edition of FanDuel Tournament Plays presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at Prize Picks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. Tonight, we have a 7-game NBA slate, getting obviously very late in the season. A lot of injury news, but we've gotten most of the news that we were waiting on throughout the day. There are still a few pieces, a few moving parts, and of course, it's April, so we could just get something out of the blue between now and lock as well. As always, be sure to tune into the deeper dive and live before lock. But for now, we're going to take a look at 5 of the top tournament options on tonight's slate for FanDuel using the Boom Bust tool on Awesemo.com. Starting at number 5, Jose Alvarado is $4,100, point guard only. Brandon Ingram is doubtful for the Pelicans. Jonas Valanciunas is expected to return after a 1-game absence. I don't expect Alvarado to play huge minutes tonight, but I do think there's a good chance that he goes from his normal 14, 15-minute role up to a 20 to 22-minute role. And he's averaged about a fantasy point per minute this season at $4,100. It makes him look pretty good. He's only projected for 8% ownership with a 17% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Number 4, Joel Embiid, $11,500 center on FanDuel, projected for 18% ownership with a 19% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Embiid is once again playing on a slate that has Nikola Jokic, a slate that has Giannis Antetokounmpo. So it just becomes a little difficult to prioritize Embiid, but he's averaged 1.7 fantasy points per minute just about in the games that he's played with Harden. He's averaged about 36 minutes per game. He's still very clearly one of the highest upside options on the board, even if he doesn't look quite as good as somebody like Jokic. Number 3, Anthony Edwards, $7,400 price tag, shooting guard and small forward eligible in a favorable matchup against the San Antonio Spurs. This game has a 240 total. Minnesota has a 124 implied total. Edwards is likely to give you 35 minutes, give or take, and he's over a fantasy point per minute player. He's projected for about 19% ownership with a 24% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Number 2, Klay Thompson, $6,800, taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. We know that the Lakers are horrible defensively. They also will be missing all of LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and Anthony Davis. Maybe they play at a slower pace without Westbrook out there. That's certainly possible, but I don't expect much defense to be played one way or the other. Thompson has pretty much taken a backseat to Jordan Poole from a fantasy standpoint during Steph Curry's absence, but as a result, you're only getting about 20% ownership to Thompson, despite a very inexpensive price tag in a good matchup. He has a 25% chance of being in the optimal lineup. And number 1, Mo Wagner, $3,900 price tag, power forward eligible, projected for 30% ownership with a 33% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Wagner has a favorable matchup against Charlotte. Orlando will once again be missing Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., and Cole Anthony, so there should be minutes available, and Wagner is over a fantasy point per minute producer. So to recap, the top 5 tournament options on FanDuel: number 5, Jose Alvarado; number 4, Joel Embiid; number 3, Anthony Edwards; number 2, Klay Thompson; and number 1, Mo Wagner.